What what is what is I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say apart from strap yourselves in. We're not going to be here for a short amount of time. Welcome to the review, which I've decided that will obviously, like usual, just go on Patreon and it will go on YouTube. I haven't given the YouTube a lot of love, and I feel like a nice long review where fans can revel in it. I know this is going to be a one-man podcast. I know this is going to be me just chatting for an hour, and I've got water here to stop and sip. This will be unedited. This will be rawer than, something that's not cooked. It's going to be my pure thoughts, emotions, experience, just going through we don't even need to go through the game. We know what happened. No one's going to be like, right, can you just take us through like the first half, the second? No, we're going to talk about Harry Wilson. We're going to talk about Marco Silva. We're going to talk about this Fulham team. And as you can see, I'm wearing the Fulham shirt today. It doesn't usually happen, but in these incredible circumstances, you have to sort of remember, oh yeah, I do support the team, by the way. And yeah, I just like look. I said on Patreon last night, my final thoughts. That today we're going to sit down and do a big old review. We're essentially going to go until my laptop runs out of battery, which is currently on 81%. Now, this laptop it's not new, it's not that old, so we'll just see how long we go. I reckon we'll be here for 45 minutes. We'll just see. We will just see. I'll keep an eye on the battery actually, just so we know where we are. I'm just going to start with saying that if football is such a strange sport, because in so many minuscule moments, in so many circumstances and variables, it can just change the outcome of things on the pitch, thoughts in the from the fans, your own emotion, your own life. It does sort of, and I don't want to be dramatic, but goals can change your whole perception on life. And that's not being dramatic. That's just saying that if Fabio Carvalho had scored the winning goal in the derby in the last minute at the Putney end in front of the Brentford fans at Craven Cottage, I genuinely would be contemplating whether it'd be worth going on from there. And that's because of everything. And you just, obviously, the emotion takes over. But I can't quite believe that now we're in a situation where everything's rosy, everything's good, everything is the best it's ever been. Okay, Kenny v Leeds, playoff final against Aston Villa, so many more. Solomon, I can't even rattle them off because my brain is so scrambled. But that for me, and if I was in the stands, it'd be completely different. It'd be probably top because in the press box I had very, very minimal space. I had someone literally there and someone literally there. I got up like that. And and then sort of realized, oh shit, I've got to tweet, I've got to keep doing my job. You can't get lost in the moment. I was hugging some guy behind me, and I was like, wait, hold on, I've got to just keep my composure here. And throughout, Thomas Frank's going to speak to the media. I knew I had to record that because West London Sport wanted that audio and wanted that video footage. Marco Silva was going to speak to the press, speak to the media afterwards. I had to come up with a question that was not going to sort of just like show that I just really, really adore. Obviously, I do adore him, but I just wanted to stay professional. That's basically the point I'm trying to make. But yeah, circumstances in football mean that your whole day, your whole week, your whole month, the whole year, personally, and people watching this will probably be the same. That things change. Things change. We've just got a new Patreon member as we record, and I think I know who it is. I think it might be Will's father. Chris. So thank you so much, Chris, if you're watching, and you will be watching, I'm sure, when this comes out on Patreon. I honestly, genuinely cannot believe the scenes we saw. Have you ever seen I think that guy walking past, yeah, he's wearing a Fulham tracksuit. Some guy just walked past the house, he's wearing a Fulham tracksuit. We're just the biggest club in the world. Brentford at home all day. I said on the the Patreon, I just felt tense. I was getting snappy. I was sort of I just wasn't because I was nervous. You get nervous for games, and yeah, I think I just need to calm down a little bit. I feel a bit all over the shop. But yeah, I got to the ground, had meal, thought, okay. And then once you're there, once you're in the ground, and once you're talking to people, like the time passes, you don't really think about the game. And then I went up to my seat in the press box and I sort of went, okay, I feel quite relaxed now. Like we're just going to watch a game of football. Obviously, when the game starts, it's going to be intense. It's going to be up there. It's a derby. But yeah, I thought we started well. Reece Nelson, fantastic. Well, let's talk about Reece Nelson because he was important in the game. Those combinations with Emil Smith-Rowe was very, very impressive. The left-hand side was really impressive. Interesting to see Iwobi start on the right-hand side. There are some quotes on my Twitter from Marco Silva about why he decided to do that. Marco Silva speaks to us ahead of Palace in just 2 days' time. Literally, this is going to be the most fun week, I think, supporting Fulham because this is why I urge you to subscribe to the Patreon because there's going to be so much content that goes up now. Not only are we going to look back on this absolutely phenomenal win and like these scenes and these like unbelievable moments that Fulham have just given us last night, but we need to look ahead to Palace. We need to speak to Marco on Thursday. We need to look at the head-to-head. We need to look at Palace's season. Like honestly, there's so much to happen. I now understand what Molly May was talking about. I'm obviously joking, but you know. I don't believe it. You know, you just don't think it's going to be your night. It was like that Leeds game, you know, where no, you know what? It reminded me of two games. Leeds at home when we were peppering them and just couldn't get through. Then we did. Obviously, that was just a draw. And then the same for this game as well, the Bournemouth game where again they score a very good goal from the kickoff, but again we were peppering them and we got through Tottenham's header. But this was different. This was Premier League. This was a derby. This meant more. So in effect, those two games don't compare. Yeah. So look, Janelt scores a good goal, and you know from there, like Brentford, like sort of didn't attack. They were like, yeah, we'll sit on this, and throughout the game they got deeper and deeper. They brought on a second defender, you know, another defender in Ben Mee for Mbeumo. We kept Mbeumo and Wissa very, very quiet, and just throughout the whole game. Or let's say whole second half. Okay, this battery's going down faster than I thought. Okay, we need to keep an eye on it. Maybe I'll just turn the brightness down. Just so many shots on target, just straight at the keeper from range. Usually it would be Bassi, and there was one from Iwobi. There was one from I can't even remember now. Like Nelson, maybe. I genuinely just can't remember. Pereira, maybe. But just a lot of shots, just on target. I've got Fotmob up here, and I don't really know why because I'm not going to go through the stats. So, okay, 26 shots to Fulham, 2 to Brentford, or 2 on target for Brentford. Should we run through the goals? I think that's important. Okay, so what was the first one again? Oh, the flick. You know, Vincent Kompany's own goal against Fulham in 13-14. It was very much like that, wasn't it? Ball into the box by Adama Traore. I didn't really know, and I don't think like I don't know what happened. But Wilson actually very skillfully sort of gets across his man. I came home and I was like, I need to watch the whole added time, like the whole thing. I watched it and I watched a bit of the analysis afterwards. And it genuinely is a fantastic goal. He like gets across his man in Ben Mee, definitely tries to get some contact on the ball by flicking it. And you know, whether there be a flick on and someone's there at the back post to nod in, or someone can get a touch on it, or Flecken, you know, it just went over Flecken and just went into the back of the net. And we deserved it. We deserved the goal. Like, honestly, we've been absolutely peppering these lot. All game. We peppered them. I remember there was moments in the second half because I was sat just left of the halfway line, so I was slightly closer to the Brentford fans than the Hammersmith end. And I could hear the whole Putney end, or the whole Brentford end, like scream frustration every time they gave the ball away. Because it was almost like they were just sort of like, yeah, well, you have it, and we'll just defend our box, we'll just defend our goal. And you know, it just got to the point where I was like, this is just not going to happen for us. The most innocuous, the most weird goal you'll ever see, but Harry Wilson deserves it more than anyone. Like, he's a player who has the potential, and obviously we see less and less of him now because we've got other players who are playing ahead of him, and he just sort of gets forgotten about. And in the one chance he has had this season against Preston, he was really below par. But Wilson's just literally like taking his status as a Fulham player to like one of the greatest now because of that moment. And that's why football's so special. You can be like a player who hasn't impressed or hasn't done anything special for a few years. Obviously, we've seen that from Wilson during his time at Fulham, but it has been a while since we've been like, wow, do you remember when Harry Wilson did this or did that? So I'm really delighted for him actually, like really delighted. I couldn't pinpoint like a goal scorer last night because I was like, no one's gonna score. Like Muniz, when he came on, I was like maybe, but you know what? It was getting to the point where like it was getting repetitive. The passages of play, but that wasn't really down to us. It was just the space that Brentford weren't giving us. Basically, we couldn't get in behind, and obviously Adama came on and took on his man, and obviously that's important because he can stretch the defence and stretch the game, even though it was backs against the walls for Brentford. But the ball came in, and Wilson gets the flick, and he scores. Then they almost win it. It's almost like that annoyed me a lot because it was like, well, we should have the ascendancy going on to win the game. And it just so happens that Brentford are just like, no, actually, we're actually for the first time going to try and mount an attack. And genuinely, like, they should have scored. They should have scored. Great save by Leno. Some really important defending by Sander Berger and Timothy Castagna, who came on as well for Kenny Tete. Berger was fantastic. Yeah, yeah. You know, and that's fine. Like we've spoke about this, and it's like, oh well, you know, Berger didn't have a pre-season. Like he came in late, and he's like slightly off the pace. Yeah, and then just give him another couple of weeks, and you'll see the fruits of a player that is very, very capable at this level. And fair play to him. He was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. Well done, Sanderberg. Honestly, and you know, Sasha Lukic will come back in maybe at some point, but we have amazing options off the bench. We really, really do. I'm so blown away by like, you know, when like you have a performance like that, where it's basically like, it's almost like you have to extract the most out of your squad or out of the players who are coming off the bench because you're putting in so much effort to try and get an equalizer. It's not like when the game's stretched and you're seeing nice bits and poor bits from individual players. Because we had so much of the ball and so much territory, there was so much that the players could give on the pitch to sort of highlight the fact that you've got very, very talented players who can create. Tom Kearney coming on was inspired because he just changes it up a bit. I thought Smith Rowe was good, and I thought these players were good. I thought Pereira wasn't that great, and we've said that many, many times this season. But it just freshened it up. It gave us a new identity. It gave us new ideas. And these players who can play at this level just give us another option. And if they're playing second fiddle to these other players like Smith Rowe, Pereira, you know, Reece Nelson, Alex Iwobi, fine, because they come off the bench and they make a difference. But it helped that obviously we had so much of the ball that we were able to see the on ball abilities of these players rather than the game being stretched or sort of back and forth. I mean, it really was extraordinary, wave after wave of attack, and then so we got the equaliser, and then the winning goal is like it's just a blur. Because genuinely, my view wasn't skewed. Like I could see the whole goal, but people stood up, and then I have to stand up. And obviously, you know, I'm not the biggest guy, whatever. But I did see the goal. And I'm very pleased I did. But it almost looked like I thought it went wide from my angle because I was quite low down. Anyway, it went in. I thought it was a really weird goal because it looked like it looped over the keeper. But again, my angle was rubbish. Those in the hammer end would have had such a good angle. He wrong foots the keeper with the header. In fact, I think he said it. He tried to go across goal, which actually I don't think he would have. If you'd gone across goal in that situation, you don't generate enough power on the header at all. Like that header would have just gone straight to Flecken, and that would have been that. It would have been 1-1. It's almost lucky, like it comes off his shoulder, and that's sort of wrong. Like he doesn't try and do that. It's lucky. He admits it. It's lucky, but you need a bit of luck in this game, don't you? You need a bit of luck. And Fulham haven't really. No, we haven't really had that much luck this season. You know, missed chances, okay, and conceding late. That's down to individual players and quality. But yeah, fantastic. Oh, honestly, just couldn't believe it. But I'm glad like those fans will have that very, very special moment. And then me personally is obviously different because I can celebrate. I literally celebrate for 10, 15 seconds and then realize, got to tweet, got to get ready for full time, got to, prepare. It's fine. I made that point earlier. But what a moment. I've never seen scenes like that at Craven Cottage in terms of like limbs. You think about it in the context, it's Brentford, it's under the lights, it's Monday night. We've been frustrated all game. Just genuinely like couldn't believe it. Still can't believe it. Still can't believe it. We're very, 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 very happy. What does it mean? Should we talk about what it means? Can we have a look at the table? Yeah. Okay, we're up to 9th on 15 points, 10 points above the relegation zone. Lovely. 10 games played, 4 wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats. And we should be on more points. And Marcus Silva made that point at the end of the game. I agree. But also, you got to be realistic. You got to, 2 very quite lucky goals. I know we dominated, but also like those goals don't go in if it wasn't down to that luck. And then you look back at games where like, oh, well, we should have got 3 points here. And you could be like, we should have got no points or 1 point. I know we should have scored. I know we were the better team, but like just circumstances, it just wasn't going our way. Anyway, I can't be asked to like sit down, look at the table and start rationalizing every result. You all know it. You all know it. 14 goals scored, 13 conceded on a +1 goal difference. We're on the same points as Bournemouth, who basically have had the same sort of season as us, really. They've just scored less and scored 1 less and conceded 1 less. We're above Man United by 3 points. We're above Newcastle on goal difference. You look up and if we'd have got those extra 4 points, we'd be like 3rd. We'd be like joint 4th with Forest. And like everyone's been like, oh, wow, Forest are 3rd. And my response to that is that, yeah, but we should be 3rd. It's almost like they've stole our place. But hey, they won the games. We beat them. And like I said, there's no point. Football's such a strange game, isn't it? If we'd have lost that 1-0, I'd have been absolutely gutted, and Brentford would have been singing "Hey Jude" and bees up for them down. Like genuinely, like the whole circumstances, the whole rivalry swings. Not doesn't swing. The whole concept of a rivalry is that you don't like them and they don't like you. And so basically, if that doesn't go in, let's just say it ends 1-0. Brentford have so much over us. Like, could you even playoff final aside, whatever, we've got that over them. That's fine. But to be dominated and then still win the game 1-0, it'd be like some sort of like, well, why can't we beat these lot? Honestly, why can't we? And it would have been another game in a derby where we hadn't scored a goal. So that's fantastic as well. That's fantastic as well. It really is extraordinary. And now we've got that over them. Yeah, the whole Yotta in the last minute, Mope in the last minute means fuck all now. Means fuck all. Because that's in the Championship. And now we've got Mitrovic in the last minute and we've got Wilson in the last minute. That means way more. Plus the playoff final. The Joe Bryan free kick. We're like literally beating them in the playoff final. I think we've got more over them now. I really do. I think we've got more over them now. Oh, yeah, but we beat you 4-1 in your backyard. Who cares? Literally, like the most irrelevant game. Like, doesn't mean anything now. It's all about the here and now, isn't it? You winning 4-1 at our place in 2015 means fuck all. I should be more. I should be more humble. To be fair, look, I'm pleased. I don't like Brentford. They don't like us. I do like Thomas Frank. I'll say that. I think there was a couple of things he said in his post-match which were a little bit iffy, like for TV or for radio. He said something like, "Oh, Harry Wilson scores that 1 in 100 times." No, that's fine. Like anyone could say that. He cut a like frustrated figure, but usually, like when I've been in his pre-match, like for my old job and stuff, like I find him quite nice to come across, and so I don't have anything against him personally, but like when you're hearing chants about former owner and at the start of the game, and you're hearing bees up Fulham down at 1-0, and you're like, you don't deserve to be ahead, and they were getting closer and closer to winning that game, and that would have just been, yeah, well, we got the win. We got the win. And the good thing about it is really, no, I'm not going to say that. I won't say that. I'm not going to say that. I don't want to jinx anything. But yeah, I just, I need a sip of water. That's what I need. Like I said, I'm not going to edit this because I feel like it should be a raw reaction of the game. And it should be, Thought Marco Silva was very honest. So that was his longest post-match press conference I can remember. It was about 30 minutes long. I think everyone had a question. Everyone got a question each, and there was a lot of. I think because of the manner of the game, how the games win, obviously it creates a bigger story. Therefore, everyone needs to get a question in, and I managed to get a question. And I said, "Where does that rank for you in terms of moments? Like you've got us promoted. We've won the last minute against Brentford before, and Solomon. I didn't even mention like Solomon, but I just said last minute winners. where does that moment Wilson's winning goal rank for you? And he said it's hard to rank them. They all sort of, they're all of their individual moments. But, he said stuff about, I can't even remember what he said, but it's all on my Twitter if you want to go look at it. And the full thing's on my Patreon if you'd like to watch it as well. It's a great post-match presser because you get to see like some real emotion from Marco Silva. He's obviously, his voice is, it's not gone, but it's croaky. And I sometimes you find yourself watching Marco on the touchline and he goes crazy at times, just like in transitions when we lose the ball or when we're not playing it quick enough, he goes mental. And thought the game was just so one-sided. This would be such a different story if the game was back and forth and Brentford had their chances and we nicked it. But it was justice prevailed last night. I've seen a lot of justice. I've seen a lot of we deserved it, and it's all very, very true. Fabio Carvalho coming on, I thought he was okay. Obviously nearly scored, but apart from that, he was shocking. And there's a fantastic shot where someone's just sort of zoomed in. I think Jack Stroudy actually did it, or someone did it, where you can see the winning goal, or you hear the winning goal go in, but the camera is focused on, Fabio Carvalho, who's down on his haunches. And there's obviously a picture going around right now of him in the foreground, and in the background you've got all the Fulham players celebrating around him, players he's played with, players he's been friends with, players that he knows very, very well. And the funny thing about it is, it's that sort of, and someone's tweeted it, I'm not going to take credit for it, but it's like a microcosm. It's like a summary of why the grass it sometimes just isn't green on the other side. If you think about it, we spoke about it in the week, if you're on the Patreon, you know that we've said it, and I said it on Fulhamish as well, that this sort of really weird route he's taken to come from Fulham to Brentford, which, by the way, is it's not even a backward step, it's not a forward step, it's just a side step. And he's after last night, he's just made himself look really silly. He could have been part of that team in the Prem. Liverpool's obviously a pool, and it's fine going to Liverpool, whatever. But surely, if you had sensible people around him, surely you've got your place here. And Silva literally said it on Thursday that they signed Pereira to play deeper so that Carvalho could play as the 10 in the Premier League. And that was because apparently we started speaking to Pereira the February before we signed him, so even before we were promoted. And basically what happened was Carvalho left and he went, well, okay, we're still going to sign Pereira. I think we can play much further forward. And that's what we've seen. But he literally had his place in the team. And I think Marco would have reiterated that to him when he was contract negotiations and stuff like that. And he just went, nah, I'll go to Liverpool and I'll play very, very few minutes. And yeah, I just don't think that it's worked out necessarily. He might have a good season with Brentford, but that night in itself, he'll always have that now of being wow, I was on the cottage pitch with 25,000, 26,000 fans, basically laughing at me that I've sort of, I don't know how to finish that sentence, but basically just sort of I've made myself look a little bit of a fool. I think he did something last night where he did the love heart when he sort of was getting booed, he was trying to rile up the Fulham fans. Comes on, plays a stinker, loses the game. Honestly, I need to be a little bit more. I shouldn't be so cold, but I just I'm very, very pleased that Fulham have done what they've done tonight or last night. Our recent West London derbies haven't been great. Mitrovic winning in the last minute was fantastic, but it was so early on in the season, it wouldn't really have this genuinely could have a big effect on Brentford's season. I'm not praying for their downfall or anything. I just don't care. It's not that deep. But in terms of there's 5 away games now where they've led in 4 and have got 0 points. I know they've been tough opposition, including Fulham. We're tough opposition. I just wonder now psychologically going into that next game. I can't even remember who they're playing next, but And on the flip side, let's talk Fulham. On the flip side, we go to Palace now, absolutely well up for it. Oh, yeah, we'll take on the pride of South London, the famous Palace boys, off the back of a 2-1 win in the derby with 2 goals in the 90th minute or at any time. And genuinely, like, I would love it if we just went from strength to strength. This was the moment where we just kicked on. I genuinely think we can finish high up this league. I was talking to someone last night who said it's not sustainable what Forest are doing. They'll drop off. Look, I don't want to like look ahead and come into any conclusions. We've got to live in the moment. We've got to take one game as it comes at a time. But Fulham really, really could have a good season. Really, really could. Especially with like, even if like Wilson doesn't start, he'll know that like, oh, if I'm called upon again, I've got very, very recent memories of me making a big difference in the game. Therefore, I've got confidence that I can do it again. You know, and you know, you give Wilson a little bit of space and you can curl one in from the edge of the area. I just love it. I just absolutely love the fact that this team, sometimes Fulham just had no sort of backbone about them. And we sort of be like, oh, well, that was close, but no cigar. Nah, not under Silva. Not recently. We fight till the end. And like, this is sort of like, I see fans like sort of saying these sort of cliched things like every single week, like Everton fans, Norwich fans, they're like the fight and because I never really go down that route in terms of like the heart and the desire of the players, blah, blah, blah. It's not the angle I go for. But then you have to look at games like this and say like, yeah, there was heart, there was desire. Am I making much sense in these 26 minutes I've been talking? Probably not, but also like, I think it's fair to say that like everyone's head's sort of gone. No one's thinking rationally. No one's thinking rationally because we're living off a high. It's genuinely like, and I don't do recreational drugs because I just don't. I have a heart condition. It would be stupid. But I would like to think, well, not like to think, but I would think that like this is almost like being high. Like where genuinely you don't really I haven't rationally thought since like the end of the game, or since I left Craven Cottage, where like work was done and I can just switch off for a little bit. I went to the pub after the game. I didn't actually drink. I just sort of was like, it's not worth drinking right now. Let's just enjoy it. And I just couldn't actually. I had a lot of like people like giving me information. This is what went on in the Hammersmith end, and I was like, wow, this sounds amazing. And when they asked for my opinion, I genuinely just couldn't. I was like, I don't know what to say. Like I can't think straight. And even when I woke up this morning, I genuinely was like, I can't necessarily think straight right now because you're sort of lost in the. I'm still lost in the moment a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really making much sense at all. But I thought I'd put my Fulham shirt today, show my support, and I'm just really happy. I'm really happy because, yeah, when you concede late at Everton, you think, why can't we just see games out? And then it would have been the same on, why couldn't we have just scored on last night? But it's nice to have that flip the other way and not only come back to draw. I think if we'd have come back to draw, this would be slightly more like a review where we just sort of review it like normal. But the win is just completely like giving everyone a lift. Like being on Twitter this morning and last night was just ridiculous. Everyone's so happy. Everyone's. I'm running out of like things to say here, but everyone's just absolutely buzzing. No pun intended. In terms of looking ahead now, Palace and Wolves, these are two fixtures where I'm actually really glad that we've got one more fixture before the international break, so we can just be like, yeah, we'll take the high of this and go to the next game. And then we can have a break because, sometimes it's like, well, that was intense. That was an intense game. Palace will be an intense game. They make an atmosphere there. Be nice to have 2 weeks just to be like, okay, we're in a good position. Hopefully we're on 18 points by then. And then we'll host Wolves, who by then still might not have a win. They play Southampton at the weekend. They might have their win. But we'll see what happens with the Saints. And then we go into a really tricky run of fixtures. Don't fear anyone. I don't look at Spurs and go, oh God, I can't. I'm dreading going there. No. I think we'll score. I think we might even get something from the game. We're playing Arsenal. Well, we beat them last season. There's genuinely nothing stopping us from beating teams like this. And obviously they've got their qualities, and we've got a good defence, but it's not absolutely world-class defence. They will create chances against us. They will test our defence. But we can hurt them as well. We can hurt them as well. Fulham winning by 2-1 against Brentford. Let's talk about like the way we set up. Obviously, Nelson on the left and Iwobi on the right. Marco Silva said he wanted a lot of one-on-one situations, 1v1 situations. I did feel like Smith Rowe had quite a lot of space to pick up the ball and drive forward a little bit. And yeah, I was quite impressed. And Fulham were coming forward, and every time we came forward, we looked really, really dangerous. Sander Berger was fantastic. Kim Anderson, Bassi, there was just a lot of what would end up happening is we'd basically in the second half we'd have every single man in their half, and it would be like Anderson and Bassi as the two sort of just trying to like keep the game ticking, and then we basically have Tete and Robinson really, really high with the wingers even really higher, but they were sitting so deep that we basically just couldn't. We can get in behind. Actually, there was a couple of chances where, like, right at the start of the second half, we tried to get Jimenez in behind. I actually thought we could have had a penalty as well. Like, Jimenez, they basically, like, waved it away and whatever. And then a couple of minutes later on the monitor, they showed a replay. And I was like, I think that could be a penalty. But they never checked it or anything. I don't even know. Fulham have, I think actually probably... for the sake of just driving yourself mental, I might have to end it here. And because I'm running out of things to say, and I don't want this to be like one of them things where everyone's like, well, you're just sitting there in silence, to sort of not really saying anything. Should we talk about the fans quickly? I just want to mention like how much that will mean for the fans. There was some cracking atmosphere in the cottage last night, but there was times where obviously it went quiet because you go a goal behind, and it's difficult to sort of generate an atmosphere when everyone's sort of like, oh, we're 1-0 down. But I thought it really was. We really pushed them on. We were winning corners, and there were low balls into the box. And when you win a corner, the crowd gets up. When you win a throw in, the crowd gets up. Yeah, the fans were fantastic. And then, like, unfortunately, due to what I was doing for work, I couldn't quite like take in the atmosphere in the ground. But from the pictures on television, it was just sensational stuff. Absolutely sensational stuff. Yeah, just fantastic. I'm just really pleased. Just really pleased that we won the game. I'm really pleased that Gentleman Jim, who I was speaking with at the game afterwards, he managed to go crazy in the gantry. I'm sure Jamie Reid the same. It's given the whole club a lift. Jeff Bruce, who's one of the brilliant comms guys, just delighted after the game. Everyone at the club's delighted. Genuinely, just like the atmosphere, the buzz. I'm sure the players today. So basically, what is happening today is the players will be back in training, but they'll be recovering as well. They're probably doing that right now. Wednesday they're going to be off, and then Thursday they'll be back in training. There's a press conference on Thursday. And then Friday we'll have another session, and then Saturday's the game against Crystal Palace. It's a good fixture to have next as well. I think obviously our record at Palace, we haven't conceded there in the last 2 seasons. We won 3-0 and drew 0-0 last season. Obviously, it was a bit of a rubbish game, but front foot. And obviously, this is a Palace team without Eze, Hughes and Wharton, and we'll get into that. We have to separately talk about Palace. I think right now we just focus on the Brentford game. And yeah, we kept Visser so quiet and Buemo so quiet. Sade came on, Lewis Potter. Just like literally their one shot. I don't remember them having another chance apart from the goal and the Carvalho chance. Like genuinely, it was absolute domination, annihilation from Fulham. We could put in that sort of performance at home with that level of dominance. It generally felt like we were a top 6 team who were 1-0 down to a team like in mid-table, and it was just all us going for the equaliser. Like, what gave us the audacity and the authority to dominate a game like that? I think it was just the way they allowed us. They literally just, whenever they got the ball, they just give it back to us. I genuinely don't know why. I think I need to watch parts of the game back again, but yeah, I feel like I'm dwindling a little bit. I feel like my energy is sapping a little bit. You know, speaking for half an hour, 35 minutes now. It's been. Yeah, my battery's on 38%. Maybe I'll end it here. I think it's you know, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go for like an hour and a half, but you can't do that. You genuinely can't speak for an hour and a half uninterrupted. Um, I've missed out things for sure, but the beauty of a reaction like this and unedited is that you basically say whatever's on your mind. So some of it would have made sense, some of it would not have made sense. There's been a lot of repeating myself as well, but hey ho, here she goes. I felt obviously this YouTube channel. Let's talk more about. I'm gonna just obviously I've got to. I think that I'm very, very fortunate in a position where there aren't many people covering Fulham full time. In fact, I genuinely think there's only one person doing it now in myself. And obviously, that brings a lot of opportunity and that brings a lot of responsibility as well. And I want to do the best possible job I can. And obviously, I feel the derby atmosphere like everyone else does. I feel that rivalry. I don't like Brentford like you don't like Brentford. And obviously, I've said some, yeah, whatever, but that's just genuine emotion. When it comes to it, I'm not going to be disrespectful to any club when I'm at work. So yeah, I'm obviously very, very pleased, and I can keep that separate. What I will say is that the Patreon is genuinely the best thing I've ever done work-wise. And I want more people to experience it. I really do. I think that right now we're at a stage where, unfortunately, Peter Rotz has left the Athletic, and that means that there very, very rarely will now be an Athletic piece on Fulham. We've got Dom Smith from the Standard, who's definitely going to do a piece on Fulham today. He definitely told me that. But he covers, all the clubs. He was at Newcastle on Saturday watching Newcastle Arsenal. He'd probably be at Palace on Friday. I'm not sure where he'll be press conference wise, but usually he's either at Palace or is at Brentford or at Fulham. So I'm at every press conference pre and post. I'm at under 21s games to give people an insight into the academy and how we're doing under Hayden Mullins, which, by the way, is fantastic. We're doing very, very well. And I'm at every Fulham game, home and away, in the press box. My dream and my desire is to give the fans the best representation of their club possible. And that's coming from a genuine fan who's been home and away, who's been through all the ups and all the downs throughout the last, 10 years at least, and 10, 15 years at least. So I know what it's like. I know what it's like to win a game like that. Obviously, that's very unique, but I've been there for last minute winners. All for this to say is that I would really love for people to get on board. The subscription is less than what you would pay for an Athletic subscription, and you receive more. You receive daily Fulham content. It's obviously, like I always say, the preview and the review goes on YouTube as well, because that's for everyone to access, because that's just me giving my opinion on what the next game is going to be. Whereas on the Patreon, you get some really cool other content, including match day content. I do things like a food review. What am I eating at the ground? What the press being served? And I do it slightly tongue in cheek because I take it seriously, but also like try and make a joke about it as well. But aside from that, there's lots of this is me in the press box. This is who's in the press box. Like, people are around me, and I'm trying to speak with more people now. I'm trying to get more. I want to get interviews with. This has always been the plan, but it's just been a little bit. You got to start somewhere, and I'm in talks with people, talking to people who want to come on and share their story, and talk to people who have played for the club or play for the club. This is my ambition. I'm not just a journalist who wants to sit on this sofa every day talking about the next game and who we're playing. I want to go out there interviewing players. I want to speak with Marco. I want to speak with former players and people who are interesting and people who have a story to tell about their time at Fulham or their time currently at Fulham or their time supporting Fulham. This is a very, very, very sky is the limit sort of project where genuinely anyone could come up to me and be like, can you make something on this? And if it's very, very doable and if it's feasible, even if it's just me sitting on my sofa talking about a certain subject that someone wants me to talk about, we will do it. Because it's very much your Patreon as it is mine. I'd love to get more people involved. We're sitting now at a decent amount of members. I have a target for the new year, and I have a target overall. So if you want that, then please do subscribe. It is in the, if you scroll all the way down on this YouTube page, the Patreon link is there. It's also in my bio of my Instagram and my Twitter as well. It's £5 per month, $5.50 if you're from the United States, sorry. And it might fluctuate just depending on where you're from, but it's in the region of £5 a month, $5.50 a month. And I'm talking, I've uploaded every day. Every day there's always some sort of content coming out. It is part of my livelihood. It's the reason, you know, it keeps me afloat, and I've got other projects going on as well, but it's the main one I want to give my focus on. I think it's only fair that I sit here and sort of plug it away, because if you don't knock on doors, if you don't ask people to subscribe, then you're not going to get subscribers. And I genuinely think it's the most unique Fulham sort of outlet you'll get right now. Obviously there's fantastic podcasts and lots of, you know, tactical views and stuff that come from, you know, certain Twitter accounts and stuff. But in terms of when it comes to being there in the press box, I'm at every game, I'm speaking to the manager, I'm speaking to players. It really is quite unique in that sense. So I'm very much very pleased that I get to do it, and I'd love more people on board, because there's a lot of Fulham fans out there, and there's a lot of people who crave that sort of content and crave that sort of insight. So I'm very much looking forward to continuing it, and I think I'll leave it there. I think I'll leave it there for today. So yeah, I would love more subscribers. I really would. The community is fantastic. Everyone there last night, everyone's buzzing. I've never seen the group chat pop off so much on the Patreon. Everyone enjoying the content. You see Marco Silva's press conference in full. You don't really see much coverage of the post for sure. Sometimes it's on Sky, sometimes the club put it up as well. It will be the first place you get to see it is on the Patreon. And I put it up straight away. I asked Marco questions myself. I know this has been very much self-indulgent, but you have to very much plug your work, otherwise you won't get anywhere in life. And I've learned that a lot over the last couple of years, that you have to you have to be like, I'm very much like I would describe myself as very much like passive. You know, I'm not like shouting it from the rooftops. But I need to start doing that, because otherwise I won't make enough subscribers to make it fulfilling, not fulfilling or sustainable. We just got a new, so you saw on that live stream on deadline day how much it means to me and stuff like that. So, and we managed to get some through the door. We've got one through the door whilst we recorded this video, and obviously it puts a massive smile on my face, because people are investing in me, and people are investing their time and their money in me, and I think that's incredible. And right now I genuinely am the only Fulham dedicated journalist right now, and I think that is obviously very like mind-blowing. I can't quite believe it, but it makes me feel like there's an opportunity there. There really is an opportunity there to deliver the best possible work I possibly can, represent the fan base in a good way. Like, I genuinely adore the club and adore the fan base. So I would love more people on board, and it would just mean the world to me. It really would. And generally, you can request the content as much as I have an idea of what I want to make on a day-to-day basis. If you want something, all you got to do is ask. All you got to do is ask. Guys, 45 minutes. I think that's fine. What we're on now in terms of battery, 26. Yeah, no, I need to upload it as well. Get a thumbnail and a title and all that good stuff. If you've made it to the end of this, fair play, because there were times where I was dwindling. Thanks so much for watching. I know it's been a lot, but it's this is I tweeted last night. It's the best job in the world. This is the best job in the world. When obviously the high is the high, and would you be saying that when you drew 1-1 to Everton? Yes, because obviously I'm still fortunate to be there, but obviously your mood's low, and obviously you're not going to be tweeting stuff like that. But yeah, after last night, I genuinely, I just can't wait to get to Palace and just do it all over again. I can't wait to get to the Moxman Park on Thursday and do it all over again. You guys are the best. Thank you. And by the way, this is on YouTube. So please do subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. I haven't given the YouTube that much attention. It really is, mostly on Patreon. But this is a YouTube channel where more stuff can go up. It really can. And more stuff will go up. It's just that the Patreon has to take priority because there's people, who have invested their time and their money in it. So it really is important. But the YouTube is important to me as well. The channel has grown quite nicely, but over the last, since the season started, it's been very much like it's just another review. It's just another guy talking about their club. But yeah, I love what I do. I won't stop. I just won't stop. So thanks so much for watching. Fulham beat Brentford by 2-1. I need to watch the Gentleman Gym highlights. I need to watch the rest of the analysis. I need to watch a whole load of content, plus make content. So yeah, fantastic stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and well, we'll just see you soon, won't we?